This is Ravi here. So before starting the session, actually, just I would like to introduce myself. Okay, I'm having total 11 years of experience, and out of this 8 years of experience, I'm mostly working in SAP SD area. Okay, and I have worked sometimes in vehicle management system also. So I have done various kinds of implementations, rollout, support projects, and technical upgrade. Since 1.5 years, I am associated with the S4HANA. I have started working on S4HANA December 2015, wherein initially I have migrated one of my system from PSP to S4HANA 1511, and then we have tested all the standard best practice scenario along with the evaluated scenario, which has been implemented for the customers. Okay, and then after that, in November 2016, we have again migrated out from 1511 to 1610. So now currently I am working on 1610. Okay, and here I have worked for the only from the OTC area, but I am having some clear idea about the entire logistics, like in terms of PP, MM, and some other module that has been simplified in our S4HANA. So this is all about myself. Okay. So now today in the demo session, we'll start with one PPT. So the agenda that will be starting here, that basically I'm having the 5 topics that we would like to cover. Okay, and probably we'll see what kinds of problem that the customer has faced in our traditional systems. And the second point that we'll see what kinds of benefit that we are getting from S4HANA. And the third point that you can see the deployment option that SAP has given if someone is migrating their system to S4HANA, or if any new customer is using S4HANA. Then we'll see some that is the greenfield versus system migration we'll see in our training session. In the theory overview that I will give some brief idea about the theory overview. So the first point, why the S4HANA came into the picture. Okay, but before S4HANA, why SAP has been migrated to HANA database? The first came in everyone is thinking that why it is HANA database first, because S4HANA is something different, HANA is something different. Both are the different kinds of technology, and but yes, the S4 simple logistics is working on HANA database. So initially what had happened, because before HANA database, earlier basically most of the customer has used, not most, the entire customer has used either SQL database or Oracle database. Okay, so wherein we have seen the the reporting, that is a major problem from the customer. That customer has complained a lot of issues to SAP, that facing a lot of challenges to get the report. Okay, because in order to execute or get the report, this took a lot of time. Okay, to execute the report or to get the report. Sometimes it took like 3 hours, 4 hours to execute. Even in the MRP run that you can see, the customer has executed the MRP run at evening. In the next day, that customer can see what happens with the MRP run. So such kinds of problem that customer mostly has faced. Okay, so in terms of transaction, because transaction was slow, because of reporting was slow. Okay, so because of this reason, the SAP has connected with the various vendors like Oracle or the other database provider, but SAP did not get any kinds of relevant information from them. What SAP had decided that because all of the database earlier was working on row based only. Okay, so in this you're talking about the row base, this means if I'm running any of the transactions, it basically inserts some data into the database tables like some VVAK table, AP to extract the report from the database table, and we need just one information from the database table. So what happened, the system is trying to search the entire database starting from scratch. Like if I wanted the row number 10,000, okay, but SAP is searching from row 1 to 10,000 to get the data because of the row beta, because of the row based structures. Okay. So this was the major problem, and the customer has complained to SAP the slower reporting. The second problem that SAP has reported, that is a kind of very complicated transaction to use. Okay, the various kind of like if in order to run the VA01 transactions in this, what happens, we have to put the lot of information. We need to switch the lot of SAP screens, and then we'll see what kinds of information that we are passing. Sometimes user do the mistake also. Okay, so the probability will be high to do the mistakes. So this was the also problem that SAP has faced. So into early 2011, SAP has like developed the new database, that is a HANA database, and that is a HANA database is not a row based, it's a form of row based as well as columnar based. So whenever we are inserting any kinds of transaction, we are doing any kind of transaction, it's stored in the form of a row, but when I'm extracting any of the data from the database, means I'm reading any of the data from the database, that will view from the columnar tables. So it not means that the SAP has stored the two data in form of a row or form of column. Just consider if SAP has stored, it is having the capacity of 10 GB and stored the information in the 10 GB, okay, hard disk. It not means for the columnar based SAP use 10 GB again. No, it's only use the 5% of the row base. Okay, so this was the major problem that customer has faced. The SAP's the HANA database came into the picture. So this is for the faster reporting and the faster transactions. Okay. One more problem that we have seen in our traditional system, that okay, so all the information, all the transactions that we are running, that is stored in the hard disk, not on the RAM. Now in new technology in HANA, that is the in-memory build, wherein whatever the transaction that we are running, that is stored either on database or in the hard disk or in the RAM. So it's totally depend on the basis activity, how the basis has configured the things, that maybe probably we are having the 10 years data and we are storing the 8 years data in the hard disk and the 2 years data in the RAM. Okay, so this in this way you can this is the kind of very technical things that SAP has taken care of this, so that we can restructure the database, like whatever data that is stored in the database, what kinds of data that we are trying to store in the RAM. So if any kinds of real-time data are there that we want to execute, we are not having more than 2 years data on the RAM. Okay, so that was earlier that our problem. We are not having the RAM because of some limitations. So now this is in the HANA data, we are having the RAM built-in memory. Okay, where then we are having the faster processes and the faster transactions. Later on in 2013, but earlier our data was, modules were not simplified. So later on in 2013, the SAP has first came in the one product, that is a VW, okay, on HANA database for the reporting purpose. Okay, so that was the first product.
Ravi?
Hello?
Ravi?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Iraj. Ravi, are you changing your slides, sir? Because we can only see the first slide.
No. No. I am just explaining the first point itself. Okay, I'm not changing the
Okay.
slide only.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that is. Thank you.
So in the in early 2030, SAP has come up with one product, that is a BW, and that is one of the first product that is simplified on HANA database, wherein we have seen the reporting got faster. Okay, in 2013. Later on, SAP in I think it is on 14. SAP has means informed to the customers or requested to the customer, can ERP can be on HANA, means SAP that all the ERP that has used on suit on HANA. Okay, so it means that our module was not simplified, like SD, MM or PP module are not simplified, but that ERP can run on the HANA database. Okay, so in 2013, later until 2015, SAP has came up with the first product in the function module, that is Simple Finance. It's March 2015. Okay, the first product SAP has built on HANA database. Okay, and then the first product in the same year that SAP has built the Simple Logistics 1511 in month of November. The 1511, that is an indication of the 11 is a month of November and the 15 is a year. So SAP has simplified 4 modules in the month of November. It's SD, MM, PP and PS module. So we will be only talking about here the SD, MM and PP and PS modules, not the other modules. And the Simple Finance, that is entirely different, that has been taken care by the finance team. Now, every year SAP is planning to release the version of S4HANA. So now last year SAP has released the extended version of 1511, that is 1610. Now in this year SAP is planning to release the 1709. So every year SAP is like SAP has given some target architecture, and every year SAP is simplified 1 or 2 modules. Till now we can say we in our 1610 version we are having the SD, PP, MM and EWM also. But the rest of the modules are not simplified. Okay, so this is the kind of agenda that we'll be looking. This is a common challenges that I have talked about, issues and solution. That I talked about the slower reporting, okay, and the closing due to the very complex model. Okay, so just consider if there is a month-end activity or year-end activity or quarterly activities are there, it's a very difficult for customer to close it because of the slower reporting. That was a major kind of challenges the customer has faced. So now SAP HANA in memory capability for providing the columnar database to read the data and simplified data model, which help in insight. So that I was explaining that whenever that we are running the transaction, that is stored in the form of row, but whenever I'm extracting the data from the database table, that is reading from the columnar tables. So because of this, if someone is like try to access the row number 10,000, is then in the memory system is trying to get the only 10,000. It's not going to search one by one. Okay, this is a kind of technology that has been built up in the HANA database. The second point, that is a high cost of operations. Okay, so here I'm talking about the high cost of operation, means reduction in cost of operation due to the great user experience provided by Fiori. So now here I'm talking about the Fiori. Earlier what customer has used? Customer has used a traditional GUI screen, wherein we have seen in order to run the one end-to-end process, like order to cash or any purchase order, Amigo and Marrow, then customer has used the various transactions to fill the various kind of inputs and to execute the transaction to save the data. So this is actually kind of like we need to give the user KUT or UT to the user, and this involves a very high cost for the customers. But in the new technology, that is a user experience that SAP has given in the form of Fiori, it can work on any devices, which means the faster approvals. It means the Fiori can be adopted in any of the devices. If not, means you go into the office, log into the system and do the transactions. No. Once the Fury Launchpad has been installed on all the Fury device, all the devices has been configured. Devices means it can be your laptop, it can be your desktop, it can be your mobile phone, it's a Windows mobile phone, or it's a Apple or Samsung, any kinds of mobile that can be configured here. Once it is configured, the user, the business is maybe anywhere, like in the office or outside the office or at home, that can access the Fury, because all the the transaction is not in the form of transaction, that is the form of apps, like you are using the Amazon and the Flipkart. If you're running any kinds of, like if you want to buy something from the Flipkart, then what you can do, you are just open your mobile, just click on the apps, you will find a list of products, you can just place the products and then means pay and do the payment, and then material will be delivered on the given date. So such kind of like the user experience that will be getting in the Fury. Okay, so it reduce the user is the reduce the like the high cost of operation for the customer, because here training is not involved more, because it's a very user friendly screen. Okay, so 𝐸𝐸 become cheaper due to the user experience. It's not means that we will make a plan for the 1 month or for 15 days or for the 1.5 months to give the entire training to the customer, because accessing the Fury is very simple. It's not like our GUI. In the GUI, for giving the training, by some of you might be involved in the KUT or UT, then we have seen we need to explain the each and every transaction to the customers. Okay, we need to prepare the the PPT. We need to show the each and every transactions. Maybe if I'm performing any of the transaction, it's maybe high possibilities that we can make a mistake, because we are having a lot of inputs. We need to put over there, and then we can save the data. So this is one of the major benefits. If you're talking about the benefits of the customer, that is a high cost of operation that earlier was in GUI, but that has been reduced using the Fury. The next is a high cost of infra. So it means if we are having in our project plan, we are having the some blueprinting operation and some workshop is there, and then some if realization done, then we need to provide some infra to give the training to the customer, KUT, or in the phase of KUT and DUT. So this is also reduce your cost. And the second thing, that is a lower cost of hardware and software licenses using the SAP cloud service. So here SAP has given a lot of choices. It's not that there are 3 choices. It's depend upon your business potential. Okay, according to that we can take a choices, like if you go on premise or if you go on cloud or hybrid. Okay, so if like just consider if one of the company is having the very low budget to perform the and they wanted to implement the SAP, so they can go. They no need to buy the hardware, no need to buy the software. Only they can subscribe or on the rent basis they can use the cloud services that SAP has given on HANA database. But yes, there is some limitations also, that we cannot get the full scope in the cloud. So there is some limitations, but there is a lot of benefits that we can talk about here. Okay, because we are saving the high cost of infra. Earlier, what happened, if any company wanted to implement SAP, then they had to buy the hardware, they have to buy the software, they have to buy the entire thing, they have to buy the consulting and all. So that become a very headache for the customer also. But here, using the cloud services, you can save the hardware cost, we can save the software licenses also. So that was the challenges we have seen in our traditional system, and now what kinds of issues were there, what kinds of solution that we are giving using the HANA database, using the S4 HANA, and using the Fury. So any questions till now, anyone? Okay. So now, so why we have like seen like what kinds of why the we are talking about like the simplified data model and all. Okay, and what was earlier in the system and what the new things that we are bringing in our S/4HANA. Okay, so if I'm talking about the reporting, like why the reporting was slower earlier and now it's become faster in our S/4HANA because of our simplified data models. Okay, so simplified data models means I have taken one of the example. Just I'm giving one of the example here. Just consider if I'm doing any kinds of material posting here. Okay, this may be a time of goods issue or it may be a goods receipt. So at the same time, if I'm running the posting transactions, and in the back end is updating the lot of tables. At least in every transaction, if I'm not wrong, it minimum the SAP is updating the 5 to 10 tables minimum. Okay. So for the goods posting, if I'm talking about here is updating the MKPF, MSEC or BSEC. Even in the there's some tables of the storage of the material that is also updating the information. Okay, means how many quantity has been reduced and that quantity also getting updated in the storage location table. So such kind of updation that is happening in the various tables. Then in the same time, if someone is extracting the reports, SAP is adjoining the various tables to get the information, like some information from the MKPF, some information from the M6, some information from the BSEC, MCHB, batch related data are there that will be stored in the MCHB. Okay, so these all are information is getting from the like piece of information is getting from one table, some piece of information I'm getting from the different tables. So because of this, we got our reporting was slow, transaction was slow. So that was the classical approach earlier when SAP we have seen in our traditional database. Okay, so that is the aggregates are there because there is redundancy are there because the similar kinds of information that is stored in the various tables. But yes, the SAP is used means inserting some additional information in the different tables. But commonly, if you're talking about here, store the similar kind of information in the various tables. Okay, so here there is some indexes tables are there, some transitional tables are there. Okay, so that was the classical approach that here we are talking about. So now in S/4HANA, what happened? In S/4HANA, SAP has simplified the data modeling. Means if whatever the transaction that we are running in SAP, that is stored in one or two tables only, not in the various tables. So if someone is trying to extract the reports from the tables, that even if someone is writing the piece of code in any kind of report, okay, then the developer can use one table and to get the reports, get the information, all the information from one table. And this table is a dynamic table. Okay, it's not a static table. It means whatever the component has been activated for that tables, only that information is stored in the table, not the entire information. For example, if material ledger has been activated, if not activated, but this is a compulsory, in S/4HANA material ledger is compulsory. If it has been activated, then this information also will get stored in the one of the table that is MATDoc tables, along with the material, along with the quantity, along with the storage location, batch information, everything. So if component is not activated, that information is not stored in the MATDoc tables. So the entire table, the upper that we can see in the classic suite, that has been replaced in one of the table that is called MATDoc. And this is a dynamic table. Okay, but yes, like we have a questions here, like we can say why this kind of like the view or architecture was not available in our traditional in our earlier system, in our traditional system. The straightforward answer is because we cannot simplify the data model because our database, the Oracle database, SQL database was not supporting. The simplified data model is supporting only on HANA database, not to other traditional database. Okay, so I have just given one of the example. In the similarly, that SAP has like the absolute, the various tables. Okay, but it not means that table is not available in our S4 HANA. Okay, some of the table that has been already absolute, but some of the tables that is still there. Only you can see the view information. Earlier that has been stored whenever we run the transaction, but now in the current situation, that is the only form of the view. You can view the tables, but whenever I'm running a transaction, that is not stored in that database table. But some of the table is still there, like 𝐾𝐞𝐬𝐬, I think there. Okay, so whenever we are we will be doing in the systems, we can see what kinds of data that is storing in the MADOC tables or any other tables. Okay. So here I have given that here 26 aggregates tables has been absolute or removed only, and one document table that has been introduced by SAP. So in some of the things that like the SAP has replaced the entire tables to one table, but in some of the things SAP has absolute all the tables, but SAP has used 2 or 3 tables, like in case of OTC, order to cash, or in delivery or in billing. SAP has absolute all the tables, like there is no more concept of the status table, index tables and all. SAP in S4 HANA, we will be storing all the information in VBAK table, AP and DP table. So we'll see everything that when we'll be running on the system. Actually, we'll be running on the system. So aggregates are eliminated here. So if I'm talking about the data model simplification, so this is the one of the slide that is giving the simplification of S4 HANA. Like we are running any kind of sales and transaction in the SD, then the inventory is get updated. Okay, and the material ledger, here you can see the material ledger get updated. Okay, and then we can see here the accounting document will get affected. So this screen basically is showing what earlier was there in our traditional system. These all are the tables. Okay, and then SAP has given the what kinds of like the simplified modeling that SAP has done for the each and every module. Like here you can see for the SD, for the master data, for the inventory management. And for the accounting. So any questions here? Hello?
Yeah, Ravi?
Yeah.
Ravi, this is Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna.
Ravi, as you said, like a material ledger, only one table is updated. I mean, it is changed. Okay. But rest of that, like as we discussed in the ECC, SAP, ERP suite, we have a number of tables, right? Like for sales documents or delivery documents or billing documents or like any customer or material, anything like, okay, pricing, whatever. Remains or same or is also changed?
No. So in all the like transactions, if I'm just talking about the end-to-end cycle. If I'm talking about end-to-end cycle from order to cash, okay. In this scenario, like if I'm running any of the transactions, that most of the tables in each and every steps, like in the delivery or in the billing or in the sales order creation, that most of the tables has been eliminated. Okay, only few tables SAP has given, and then whatever the information that was stored in the table, okay, earlier, that all the fields that has been merged with the table that we are going to use in S4 HANA. The one thing. The second point, in the some of the cases that SAP has replaced the entire table, okay, and SAP has introduced a new tables in some of the area, like in the material ledger or in the case of inventory management or in case of accounting. So two things here. One, that is the entire table has been replaced, or most of the table has been eliminated and a few tables are there to store the information. And it's not means that table is only store the information that earlier has been stored. No, the most of the field that has been merged with the current table. For example, if I'm talking about the VVAK tables. So earlier VVAK table is just store the header data of the sales order, header information of the sales order. Now, in the current situation in S/4HANA, it's storing the header along with the status and everything. Means it consists of the huge fields in the VVAK. No need to, means SAP is not storing any data in VVUK or UP tables. The status table that has been, that is status information also getting updated in the VVAK. So no need to go in the various table to extract the reports or join the tables to get the information from both the tables. Because SAP has separated the status table, the transactional table, and separated the partner tables. Even partner tables is also not mixed with the transactional tables. So is that clear? Or
Yes, Ravi, thank you.
yeah. Okay, so here I am just giving some of the example. Okay, so elimination of the status table VVUK UP, status will have been moved to the corresponding header and the items table VVAK or AP for sales document. Similarly for delivery and the invoicing also. Okay, simplification has been done for the VVFA tables. Okay, there is some other information that we'll be getting when we are actually will be doing into the system, like the some fancy document category also get like the simplified and is replaced by the 4 characters. Okay. Elimination of the redundancy that you can see the table VV, VAKPA, VAPM. These all of the redundancy table that has been eliminated. Means whenever we are running any kind of transaction in our S/4HANA, that is not going to be updated. Apart from this, there is some VVUK that is also eliminated. So it not means whenever I'm like there are two kinds of approach here. One, if there is a new customer who is going to use the S/4HANA, and the second that the one customer that is that they have been migrated from the ESP or ECC to S/4HANA. Okay, so it not means if someone is doing the migration from ECC or ESP to HANA system, it not means that is not going to store in any available, because the the data is already stored in the VVUK UP, that is also get migrated in the new target architecture or new simplified data modeling. So because of this redundancy that I have already explained, that the reduced memory footprint, simplified document flow, elimination of the index tables and the aggregates of the figure, increased performance of the HANA queries, and functional scope enhancement by extended field length. And even in the field length extension that you were talking about, because SAP has earlier, we have, if you remember, we have used, we have seen the 18 characters only in our for the middle master. Now it has been extended to 40 characters. Why it has been extended to 40 characters? Because of the EWM, because EWM is supporting to 40 characters. It's not supporting to 18 characters. Okay, so SAP is having entire things in their mind. Okay, it means what is the future scope? Okay, because SAP is not focusing on the WM, it's more focusing on the new technology like EWM, like GTS, GATP kind of things. Okay, so basically, what kinds of like line of LOB is a line of business. Okay. So it means what kinds of like the data and the module has been simplified till now. Okay, so this is a line of business. SAP in our S/4HANA supply chain has been simplified. Like we'll be talking about the manufacturing during our regular class. We'll be talking about the sales, what the simplification has been done in the sales. Then we'll talk about the source and procurement and the manufacturing. But not SAP has not simplified these modules like sustainability, R&D, and the asset management services. Okay, there is a more probability that in the later on, means maybe in this year or the next year, in 2 years down the line, all the modules can be simplified. But at this moment, we are just talking about the 4 modules here. Whatever the changes has been done under the production planning, under the materials management, under the sales and distribution, that we can see in the systems. Okay, it's related to everything. It's a configuration or any kind of transaction. Whatever the delta pass has been changed, you will see. So these are the line of business that SAP has been simplified in our S/4HANA. Okay, so this is actually I was talking about the S/4HANA evaluation. Okay, in the SAP HANA here, it's not mentioned the year, but it's for SAP HANA that came into 2013 or 2011, early 2011. Then the first that business that module that came on powered by S/4HANA is the sorry, not SAP HANA, is the business warehouse. Later on in 2014, that SAP Business Suite powered by SAP HANA. Business Suite is talking about our ERP module. And the first product that SAP came powered by S/4HANA is the Simple Finance in the month of March 2015. And then later on, like from starting from November to till now, SAP is now in the 1610 version. Okay. The S/4HANA and like the enterprise management, is both are same. It's not a similar, because S/4HANA is now calling as enterprise management (EM). Okay. So this is an innovative in-memory database, new architecture in data modeling. That I talk about the new architecture, what the data modelings are there, renewed applications, new user interfaces technology. And SAP has given choices on cloud or on-premise deployment model. Here it's only 2 models, but there's a third is also hybrid. Okay, these kinds of benefit that we'll be getting using the S/4HANA. So this is I talk about the digitalization. Okay, this is nothing to explain here. This is same slide that I'm showing. This is the benefit of S/4HANA. That this is a business modeling, then connect to the people, devices, big data and business network in the real time to achieve the previous is a kind of thing. So okay, so maybe in the real time you can connect to the customers. There's no need to like because everything on digital. Okay, so everything on mobile you can access by the Fury apps. We can connect to the peoples. We can manage the big data on the using the HANA database. The business processes, that business processes also got simplified. Okay, because in one cockpit you can access the multiple things. There's no need to go in the multiple screen to execute the processes. Okay, in one cockpit you can like execute the multiple things. You can create the sales order. You can see the flow of the sales order, what has been done, what has been done till now, what needs to be done, kind of thing. Okay, so that we can see when we will be running the Fury. Okay, means like just consider if one of the sales order has been created and if it is blocked due to some credit or delivery or billing, that even we can see the status in one cockpit also. So in one cockpit, whatever the like the status we can see through the flow diagram, and it's entirely different flow diagram. Okay, then we can take a decision. Okay, on the same screen that we need to perform certain activity to release the sales order or we need to reject the sales order. On the same screen, you can find the options also to create the delivery. We can create the delivery, do the PGI. In the same screen, you will get the option that we can go for the billing also. So no need to run the multiple transaction to perform the one end-to-end process. So that's such kind of things that we can see. But the business process also got simplified. The data modeling I talked about, the elimination of the indices, elimination of the aggregates, and the redundancy that was not meaningful, but that has been stored in the various tables. Okay, and that is storing the similar kind of information in the various tables. So because of this, I have already explained, the reporting was very slow, transition was very slow. The business decision, that we can take a decision on fly because of the real-time access. Okay, as I explained that. Just consider, for example, if one of the customer has raised the sales order at 6 p.m. and now office hours is closed, and our end user is not in the office and he is at his home. So what he can check the sales order, he can take a decision on fly. No need to go into the office. So the business decision can take on fly Okay, and the one more thing that is like the SAP has into the very beautiful features in MRP life. Okay, so earlier for the MRP run, every user has run the batch job every fortnightly, and the next day we can see the reports, we can see the status of the MRP run. But in the S4HANA, we can see the results on fly, means everything is very fast. It's a 10,000 times faster, you can say. Now the user experience, that customer, like the business, will get the better user experience compared to our traditional GUI, and the solution deployment. So these all are the benefits that we can give it to the customers, even if we are going to explain what kinds of benefit that we are providing, the SAP is providing using the S4HANA or HANA database. This is the business modeling, business processes, data models, business decision, user experience, and the solution deployments. So it is all things that is the reducing the cost of the customer. So this is basically S4HANA modern architecture, new design. This is a modern architecture, new design. This is a smart business. This all the entire thing that we can see in the systems when we'll be doing the Fury. So this is, I have explained how to deploy S4HANA that we can deploy on premise. Here we need to buy the software, buy the hardware, buy the infra, everything. Okay, but in the hybrid we can use ours, because if I'm having the very huge landscape, so we can migrate some of the landscape on premise and we can migrate some of the landscape on cloud. So it depends on what kinds of business basically we are performing in our day-to-day activity, and according to that we can make a decision. We go for on-premise or hybrid or cloud. Now this is a roadmap that I was talking about. Okay, so SAP S4HANA on-premise editions, the cloud edition update that we are giving. For the cloud edition, basically we are giving the update on quarterly basis. Okay, like SD pack 1, pack 2, pack 3. Okay, but on-premise edition, the SAP is releasing the version once in a year. Okay, so this is the available here. This is the plan, and this is the future directions. In the future, basically, we'll have to see the lot of things that on S4HANA. Okay. This is nothing to explain here. Okay, this is the kind of I was talking about the enterprise management, and this is one of the example that we can see what is the ECC, what is the suite on HANA, and what is our S4HANA. So ECC that is normally run our Oracle or SQL database. Suite on HANA that is basically the ECC that is run on HANA database, and BI is that is run on HANA database. This is the suite on HANA, because there here our table is not yet simplified. It's not yet simplified, it means that is using the traditional our ERP systems. Here our data modeling has been okay on S4HANA. So here I am using the HANA database along with the simplified data modeling, like BP, SD, PP, MM, and the FI, and PS also. Okay. So this is a kind of some examples I have given, the source and procurement, what kinds of that is, the key capabilities are there, benefits are there. This is a source and procurement today. This is the at this moment we are having the today approach, but during the S4HANA we can see here the enhanced, that we can see the green is that is showing the enhanced version in the Fury, and this is the grayed out means that has been obsolete on HANA database. In S4HANA. Okay, so basically this is the additional functionality that SAP has given. Blue is as it is that we have used our traditional ERP, now we'll be using in our HANA systems. The gray that has been eliminated. Okay, similarly, like here I am given just some of the examples like operational procurement, invoice and payable management, sourcing contract management. Similarly, here in the plan to product we can see like production engineering and planning, production operations and executions, like quality management compliance is not yet simplified, so that we are not finding here the simplified version of this. So whatever the simplified in the form of any processes or any module that we can see in the form of is green. Similar in the sales. Okay. Now request to service, because customer service is not yet simplified. Okay, so here everything we are giving in the gray status. Okay, this is a new inventory data model that I have already explained with the with the MATDoc tables, that in details that we will see when we'll be running into the systems. That is a user experience that we can see here, the traditional ERP system that we have seen here. Now in the target architecture, that is the role-based applications. This is a functional-based application. What is the difference between functional-based application and role-based applications? Okay, both are having the role-based kind of applications. So in SAP Fiori, whatever I'm having the role, according to that role, we are just giving the we are getting the access in the Fiori. Okay, just consider if I'm having the sales role, so only I will be able to perform some sales activity through the apps. But in our traditional systems, if I'm having the sales role, that I can view the entire transactions within the GUI. If I'm performing any different transaction that is not in our scope, then you can get to know that these are not able to access that transactions or that objects. But here in Fiori, whatever the roles that you are having, only that apps you will be getting, or that apps only get configured for your roles only. So this is the one of the user experience, because both are having the role base. But in the traditional systems that you can see, you can view the entire transactions in the menu bar. Whenever you are performing, then you get to know that which transaction I can access, which transaction I cannot access because of the authorization. So this is a transition to SAP S/4HANA that we can see when we will see the detailing on the during our training session. The new implementation, system conversion, landscape information. There are three kinds of transition we can see, and basically the most of the things we'll see on the new implementation, how we can perform a certain activity. For the system conversion, I will let you know the entire details. Okay. Because the conversion basically we cannot see in the system, but yes, what are the basic prerequisites are required, what are the conversion that SAP has given within the SPRO tools, okay, like the finance migration or any simple logistics migration that I will show in the system. Okay, this is a SAP Activate methodology that we'll be talking when we are doing this on the actual session. Okay, what is SAP Activate methodology? Because here there is no ASAP methodology. This is SAP is having the Activate methodology. Okay. So SAP will talk about the SAP best practices. Okay, because that will the mostly going to be used on cloud. So we'll talk about the SAP best practices. So basically SAP has given, like, this is a SAP data. Okay, we have not calculated the entire things. So for the GUI, because SAP, for example, like clearing incoming amount payments. So what happens? The user activity, that is the duration, clicks, screen change in the fields file. So it took 2.25 minutes in the GUI, and if I'm performing the 49 clicks and 26 screen changes and 9 fields filled, but in our SAP Fiori, it's reduced by 50%. The clicks is reduced by 50%. Screen changes is reduced by this case more than 200 times, 2000 times. Fields are filled very less, and because of the less field, we have minimized the error, and that we can see here the reduction in the terms of percentage. So basically, because of the HANA database, because of the simplified S/4HANA, because of the SAP Fiori, okay, so we can actually because why we get the our simplified version is for HANA. So SAP HANA database is used to get the faster speed, to get the faster reporting, to get the faster transactions. Fiori is basically to provide the great user experience to the customers. And the simplified data modeling, that is S4HANA, is providing the improvised processes. So the entire bundle is called the S4HANA. Okay, if someone is going to buy the S4HANA, it means it will have the S4HANA, the HANA database to provide the faster speed, to provide the faster reporting, faster transactions, plus Fiori. The Fiori is providing the great user experience to the customers. And the third, that is a simplified data modeling, is called S4HANA, that is providing the providing the improvised business processes. So that entire things will be calling out S4HANA, simple logistics. So that's it from my end. If anyone is having any questions, just please do let me know. Hello.
Hi Ravi, Vivek here.
Yeah, Vivek.
Yeah, so Ravi, my question is like, so when a customer will implement this SAP HANA, so what about the traditional SAP ESP6 or ESP7? This will be completely isolated or it will be still there?
So if customer is migrating their system, okay, so if customer is already using their ECC or ESP systems, okay, if they are migrating, yeah, there is not a, because it's a totally, it's the entire different landscape, it's a different architecture, okay. It's not any successor of any of the ECC or ERP, ECC or EHP, okay. It's a totally fresh kind of technology at this for HANA. So here that whatever the customer has run their business processes on ECC, EHP, that is no more there, okay, because customer has been moved to the S4 HANA. Okay.
Okay.
So here there are two things. Customer is decided to move on HANA database or S4 HANA. If customer is decided to move on HANA database, not on S4 HANA, that is entirely something different. Means customer is not getting the Fiori user experience. Customer is not getting the improvised business processes for SD, MM, FPP. But customer is decided to move on S4 HANA. It means first customer has to move on HANA database, then S4 HANA is supporting on HANA database.
Okay.
Got it?
So, okay, yeah. Like, yeah, so if any customer is moving on to S4 HANA, so whatever transaction or whatever transaction is making on ESP system, that is no more used, right?
Currently SAP is having the both way. Okay, you can perform the transaction through Fiori as well as you can perform the transaction through GUI. In terms of process, the process is not changed, but yes, in some of the cases, process has been improvised. That definitely you will see in each and every value stream, SD, PP, and MM. But in the most of the cases, the transaction is same, the process is same, the way of execution is same. Only we have seen the great user experience through the Fiori that we can perform the same kind of transaction either Fiori or GUI. But later on, now not at this time, SAP is planning to absolute like the GUI transaction over 3 years or 4 years or 5 years down the line. SAP is more focusing on Fiori, not on GUI.
Okay.
Okay. So that Fiori part is definitely taken care by the Fiori consultant and the person who is having some basic information, basic knowledge of coding. So it's not our job, but yes, we have to know what kinds of apps that needs to be configured for the respective business users. The respective business roles that we are basically assigning to any of the key user or any kinds of business user. So here the consultant, the Fiori consultant, what's doing? The consultant is just mapping, field to field map there in the Fiori as well as in the backend, that is the GUI.
Okay.
Right. So now here I am talking about the Fiori as well as GUI, because in the Fiori, when just consider Fiori Launchpad has been installed, okay, and if one of my business users is having the role of sales, logistics as well as the billing, okay, the business user can perform the various transactions on the Fiori, and in the Fiori, the user will have the 4 kinds of transactions. One, the GUI transaction, that is a form of apps that can be configured. The second, that is whatever the GUI apps is configured, as it is, whatever we are putting into the GUI screen, the similar kinds of entry you can put it to the Fiori also. This is called the GUI apps. The second, that is transactional apps. In transactional apps, basically SAP has given the great user experience wherein in one transactional apps you can perform the various activities. The second is the analytical apps, wherein we can see the reporting for the customer. Like one customer, you can use the multiple customer, we can see the profit and loss, okay, through the analytics. The fact sheet basically is having the cockpit wherein we can see the entire detailing of the sales organization for any of the PO history. Means for one material, how many PO has been created, how many PR has been generated, how many posting has been done, how many PO has been logged. The entire details you can see in the fact sheet. So 4 kinds of apps definitely will be getting in the Fiori. So got it, Vivek, or you need more info on this? I mean, are you understood what basically I'm trying to explain?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions for the understanding point of view or for the course point of view?
Ravi?
Yeah.
What are the transactions are simplified in terms of sales and distribution and material management?
There is a transaction is not transaction is not simplified. What is simplified? The data modeling. Okay, transaction is same as we have used. Some of the transaction has been absolute or simplified. Yes, like whatever we have used the various transaction to perform the certain activity, that is also has been absolute. Okay, so in terms of tables, in terms of transactions. So, for example, like the customer master creation, okay, that is it's not we are not going to perform the VD0 or 01 or XD01 or XK01 in the Fiori. If we are running that transaction, in the backend system is redirecting to the business partner. So some of the transaction has been absolute. Okay, the sum of the transaction is still there, but it's redirecting to the new transactions. Like creation of the credit master FD32 is no more there. If you are running that transaction, either will be getting a dump or will be getting the error.
Okay, so order to cash and procurement to pay, the remains same, right?
No, it's not means remains same. The sum of the transaction that is that there's a huge list of transactions. We cannot explain like in one shot. Whenever we are running the transaction, like if I'm talking about the sales, when we will we will talking about the sales, logistics as well as the manufacturing. So when we will go for the sales, okay, in our day-to-day classes, then we'll see how many transaction has been absolute, how many transaction has been introduced by the new, replaced by the new transactions. Okay, that the entire things we can see in our practice session.
Okay.
VA0 remains same. VA02, VA03 are same. Okay. There is a output for the, if you remember that we are running the transaction VF31, but VF31 is still there, but the SAP has replaced the one beautiful transaction VF31F. Okay, so this is comes under the output. Output is entirely changed. credit management is no part of SD. It's moved to FSCM. The rebate management, that is not a part of SD. That is moved to settlement management in logistics general. Revenue recognition is no more available in SD. The entire master data has been changed. Okay, so a lot of things that has been changed in the S/4HANA. We will see, even if we're talking about the course content here. So here, can you see the screen, course content? Hello, Vivek and all. Hello. Yeah. So we'll be covering the introduction to S/4HANA here, where we can see the in-memory strategy, architecture overview, row store, column store, attribute view, and the calculation view you can see. Next, we'll see the way from business suite to S/4HANA, introduction to SAP Fiori, deployment option we can see. We can see the SAP Fiori. The above three part is theoretical. Next, we can see the enterprise sector setup. Okay, because we'll run our functionality on the new structure. So I will set up one enterprise structure to execute the scenarios. Okay. Then we see this is the practical things. The master changes we can see the materials, customer, vendor, business partner. Okay. First we'll see the theoreticals. Then we see the practicals also, along with the configuration, along with the business transactions, everything related to CVI configuration, what the CVI configuration required for the implementation for the migration. Then later on we can see the deltas part in SD. And one more thing here, we are not going to explain how to run the third party, how to run the intercompany billing line, how to run the vendor contract kind of things. Okay, because everybody knows how to run the processes. Whatever the delta parts is there, then I will show the delta parts through the one end-to-end scenario. So we'll talk about the changes in the data model, pricing, billing, output determination, credit management, changes in the ATP calculation that we see in the practical. We'll see the Fiori session using one end-to-end scenario. That is a kind of practical things we can see. We can see the foreign trade management theoreticals. It's not a practical, but because this is moved to GTS, foreign trade. Then we'll see the SAP MM overview. Then we see the material ledger, simplified pricing, output determination of the MM, the Fiori transaction in MM in the practical. Then we see the entire BRF concept, theoretical and practical, how we can execute the reporting output for the billing and purchase. We can see the changes in revenue recognition, foreign trade, rebate management, theoretical. I will try to show some of the configuration in the rebate management also. Now we can see the changes in PP overview. Practical session, we can see the MRP live. Now we'll talk about the bar day report that has been introduced in SD, MM, PP. We can see the sum of the bar day as a practical. We can see possible. We can see the theoretical also in the system also. We'll talk about the understanding conversion process and the tools within the SPRO. That I'm talking about the migration activity. What the migration activity need to be performed when we are migrating from ECC or ESP to S/4HANA. So we'll talk about the migration activity. We'll talk about the new implementation also. We'll talk about the converting customer vendor into business partner for migration conversion project. That is a theoretical. And then later on we'll talk about the SAP Activate methodology. We'll see here the system conversion, landscape transformation, and the new implementations. So this is all about the course content that we can see in our regular classes. So any questions, anything that you would like to ask, because still I'm having 5 minutes to discuss. So just if you everything you are having in your mind, just do let me know.
Hi Krishna, any more doubts? Nishok? Okay, then I think we are good to close.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ravi.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Nishok. Thank you, Amit. Yeah, bye.
Thanks, Ravi. Thanks, Ravi. Thanks, Anna.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Araj.